Hello friends, I am playing with these little pansies. Now keep in mind when I paint a flower, I do my best. I don't like to do, like it looks like a photograph or an illustrative botanical. I like to make my version of a pansy. And one of the reasons why I chose the pansy is it reminds me a lot of the little violets, which is actually a February birth flower. So I thought I'm going to play with that. So let me go ahead and do that. I'd love for you to join me if you like. Let me grab my paper. So I'm using my number 8 brush. My brushes are actually sold out. Hopefully they'll bring them back one day. But this is the 8 round. You can also use the Princeton 8 round, which I will link below. You can also use this really great beginner set. You get like 10 of these Dagatos. Perfect for a beginner for like $15. And they have an 8 in here too. I think it's a set of 10 and you get all the different sizes. I've been using those for almost 2 years. All right. Oh, and then this is the 140-pound cold press paper. This is in my spring journal. This is the Artisto. I love it. 140-pound cold press, and it's nice and textury, so I really like that. And I can always pull them out because they have a perforation here. All right. What I'm going to do first, and by the way, I am using my Mylang paints, which I'm just going to give a little, just a soft spritz. You don't want to create a bunch of puddles in there. This is the larger set, by the way, that has the metallics. I don't know if I'll use metallics today, but they're there if I need to. I just happen to grab those ones. And I've got my 2 containers of wash and rinse. Really important for your brushes so that you get all that paint out. And then my handy dandy little daisy palette, that's from Meeden. And I'll put all these links below. All right, so what I want to do is just make this really nice and easy. I'm going to, and you might not be able to see this on here because I'm going to go in first with water. So I'm just going to, hopefully you can see this a little bit. Pretty wet, and just creating these petals. And what's really going to make it noticeably a pansy is I'm going to be adding that center in that, is so recognizable for a pansy. And a violet. A violet's just those, they're really cute. They're those little teeny, they remind me of a little miniature pansy. All right, so I'm gonna go in with my purple. I've got some purple here. Let me just get a little bit. And going to water that down a bit, tap, tap, tap. And then I'm going to go into the center here. Look at that. Isn't that fun? And just lay down, and I'm not worried about where it's going because again, I just want to create like what I think in my head that pansy is going to look like. So it's not perfect. They have some overlapping petals and things like that, but I'm just playing here. And then I'll just pull out maybe some of that because this is, all these petals are wet. So it's very easy to pull some of that out. Also, the pansies I've had, a lot of times they will have that kind of dark edge. Now this is already a little bit dry. There we go. But look how fun that is. And then I think I'll use a tiny bit of that kind of pinky color here. I think that's so pretty. And I'm just gonna go in, because you know what? This is my pansy, so I can make it any color I want, right? And you can too. So there you go. We've got kind of that outline. Let's go in now and just put some leaves in there. I'm going to use my tree green, kind of my go-to. And just using the tip of my brush, let me set that down. Just using the tip of my brush, and I'm going to, let's see, light pressure, there we go, just a little stem there, and then light pressure, I'm going to go ahead and come up, press and widen out my brush. Come up like that. I'm gonna just darken that a bit. There we go. And then the other side, point, press, point, press, point, press. So there's my little stem. I'm sorry, it's not a stem, my leaf. And I like to just kind of make my leaves a little bit fun. And then maybe we come out here, and those are just some dabs. Just using the tip of my brush there. So I'm varying the size of my leaves. And then if this is dry, it's a little bit cold here, so things are drying a little bit slower, but I'm gonna try and go into the center here and just darken that up. I don't wanna do too much because I wanna keep this very light and I don't want it to be too specific. But I'm gonna draw just really light pressure with the tip of my brush. Like that, because that to me is what's really recognizable about those daisies. And then let's just go in here and add in, using a lot of water here, very damp, because I love that washiness, that really flowy style. So I'm kind of going in with some water, letting it spread around. And at the same time, I don't want to do too much. So this looks almost a little bit like a peony. I'm sorry, not a peony, a anemone, something like that. And then around, so to me, what's really recognizable about that pansy is it always has that kind of dark edge. So I'm going in while that's wet and just adding in a little bit of that. There you go. And we're about done. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just hit this really quick with my heat gun and then go into the middle with some yellow. So bear with me a second here. Okay, and let's go into the middle with some yellow. You could even use a yellow gouache here to really get that opaqueness, but I'm just going straight from my palette, loading the side of my brush, not the tip. And I'm gonna go in and kind of dot around, because to me, that's what really makes a pansy noticeable, even if the flower petal shapes aren't perfect, because pansies are kind of overlapping, but I think this is perfect. And then the last thing I think I'll do is just use the very tip of my brush and go in and just create a couple lines coming out, just really light pressure. Like that, and look at that. It's got that, to me, pansy feel, even though the petals are a little bit unique. Pansies typically are kind of overlapping. I think you've got 2 on top, 3 on the bottom, but I rearrange them how I like them. And there you go. I mean, how pretty is that? I could go in and add just a little bit of darkness in there. So let's grab a little bit of green there. Got some green. It's about 80% pigment, 20% water. And I'll just go in and maybe add in a tiny bit. There we go. Just for some fun detail. Really don't need much. I could even darken one of these or this one, either one. Just kind of dabbing in there. And there you go. I think I'm about done. I hope you have fun with this, and happy birthday to all the February babies. And I would love to see your version of a pansy. As you can see, mine is totally unique to me. Doesn't have to look identical, but to me, I like picking out some of the noticeable things in different flowers. You know, I'm sure some of you could say this looks more like an anemone or something like that. But to me, I like creating my own kind of version of a flower and giving it my distinct twist. And I hope you do the same. All right, everybody, happy painting. I will link all of my supplies down below. And don't forget, I have, thank you to you guys, so honored to be here with you. And this is one of the fun things. I had so many of you ask me about a Patreon account, and wow, guys, it's taken a long time, but I have got a Patreon account, and I will also link that down below. Lots of fun stuff there, and thank you to you guys for encouraging me on that. And happy painting. All right, I will see you all soon.